The difference between first steps and other entries in the franchise is the difference between drinking fresh juice squeezed from a ripe orange versus someone burping the half-stale memory of orange juice directly into the back of your throat. Yum. The original duology didn't care about the characters or the stories it was adapting. It was too goofy, too cheesy, not camp, just cheese. I've done the science. Figuratively cheesy and also kind of literally cheesy. That's cheddar, not rocks. I can't be argued out of this. It's a creature of my nightmares.
Wanna be scared? Fine!
Total garbage fire. Then we have Garbage Fire the Reboot, which seemed to pull a 180, wanting to pivot from cheesiness into a self-serious, dour slog fest that mimicked whatever dark, edgy slop factory that the DCEU was caught in for a decade. I mean, I'm happy The Dark Knight exists, but at what cost? Oh God, at what cost?
I never said thank you.
And you'll never have to.
Please note, this review will be mostly spoiler-free until the full spoilers section at the end. Here's the table of contents, please find chapters below. Before we begin, let me convincingly ask you to subscribe to that subscription and like that like for more juicy, tasty, critical content on superheroes, horror, anime, video games, writing, psychosocial, Gooner type nonsense, etc. Now, if you want the skinny before the fat, this movie is for people who have been mostly disappointed with the post-Endgame Marvel slop. It feels like a fresh start, and it kinda is. This movie is especially for people who have been disappointed with previous entries in the Fantastic Four series. This is the first Fantastic Four movie that actually feels like the Fantastic Four. It's for people who want to shed a tear or two. It's for people who love fun, grandiose action scenes full of spectacle. It's for kids. It's for adults. It's for adults who want to feel like kids again. In my theater, a lot of people actually clapped and cheered at the end of the film, so I think that's a good sign. I was happy to be in the presence of that kind of energy. It is not, however, for this little big guy.
Women doing things, woke. He's a guy in the comics, you know.
Psst, hey man, just to let you know, Shalabol has been in the Silver Surfer comics since the beginning. She's literally Norrin Rad's love interest. Also, she has worn the Silver Surfer mantle as well as an adjacent title in the past. That version of her might not be prominent and only exist in a random offshoot universe, but she is real. Or was real, because it looks like she's kinda dead now. Besides, Fantastic Four also takes place in a random offshoot universe outside of the mainline MCU, which means they could use the real Silver Surfer once all the MCUs and all the other U's collide. I'm not making any promises, but don't hold out hope, little guy. You know, this is what happens when you write dissertations without doing even like a dirt smudge of research, but...
I'm not gonna say nothing today. Oh man, that's woke. Latino, woke. Oh man, bleach blonde plus hot, that's kinda gay, woke.
Alright, let's get this review started proper. Obligatory dad joke number 1. Time to go a little deeper. That's what your dad said.
Ew.
So one of my biggest blood-curdled fears going into this movie was that I would be getting a third origin story. Origin stories are like padding to meet the word count on an essay. They're like standing in line at the DMV. To be a little more accurate, they're like listening to your drunk uncle tell you the same story every Thanksgiving. I'm sure some of you really love Uncle Andy's stories. I would rather suck off a cactus. Much like a Mormon couple on their wedding night, I've been waiting too long. I want to get to the juice and the meat. Oh no, here comes the cosmic radiation. They're changed forever. See-through girl, walking skincare advertisement, human cigarette lighter, and the gum-gum penis. I don't care, man. I want to see Galactus. I want to see the Silver Surfer. I want to see the Invisible Woman do more than have a nosebleed. I don't want to sit around for 2 hours while a superhero comes to terms with being a superhero. To me, that subject is usually more interesting later in a character's journey after they've already committed themselves to that lifestyle than right at the start. There's just a lot more room for introspection at that point versus someone being shocked that they can turn invisible for 2 hours. Thankfully, First Steps goes the MCU Spider-Man route and spares us a wasted film rehashing for a third time what could essentially be a text message. When we meet the Fantastic Four, they've already been heroes. This is their gig, which does massive favors for the story because we get to get right into the juice and the meat. That's the best part of the pizza, man, and I don't even eat meat. At least not that kind of meat. Without a learning curve on their powers, we get to see the Fantastic Four actually being the Fantastic Four in some genuinely fun, intense scenes full of grandeur and spectacle. It's a fun story, a buffet full of cool shit and emotional moments with a strong beginning, middle, and end, and also after end. It's the best, most complete Fantastic Four film we've seen, and none of it drags. No wasted time. This was the cast. Joseph Quinn, who gored his way into our hearts as Eddie Munson in season 4 of Stranger Things, is the perfect person to play a charming fuckboy whose specialty is lighting himself on fire both literally and figuratively. Eben Moss Backrack, Batratch? I don't know, but since he's presumably white, I don't think anyone will cancel me for pronouncing his name wrong. Oh no, unless they cancel me for reverse racism. I'm sorry, I'll try again. Eben Moss. Richie from the Bear. It's Richie from the Bear. Perfect person to voice this character, to give him some gruff edge and emotional depth. I mean, who doesn't love Richie? Except for the people who don't love Richie. I know that seemed obvious, but there's a real low-level, not very funny joke with a very small target audience there if you pull back the layers. Just like I pull back your dad's foreskin. How am I ever gonna get famous talking like this? How is anyone ever gonna respect me? I'm a fool. I'm a clown. A sad, lonely clown. You know, one day I'll stop making dad jokes, but not today. Not with dads like this around. Pedro Pascal. Honestly, you could put him in anything and I'll be happy. Especially my God, the way Mr. Fantastic could tickle my fun spots. I know you've thought about it. You don't get to judge me. Just stay out of my browser history. You know, all I gotta do is make his wife ... disappear! Huh? Huh? Hopefully. Speaking of, my favorite member of the Fantastic Four. Now, I've never seen Vanessa Kirby in anything before, I don't think, but she is exactly what I picture a good Sue to be. She has a parental energy, an air of intelligence. She has the aesthetic of an upper-middle-class white woman who would call the police for all the wrong reasons. She is Sue.
I'm Sue.
In the previous films, the Fantastic Four felt at best like cartoon caricatures of cartoon caricatures. At worst, like vague, foggy reflections in a cracked den's bathroom mirror. So I'm happy to see the Fantastic Four getting to be the Fantastic Four. For once. I've apologized for a lot of things, but I'm not apologizing for that. This is the first film that actually comes correct with characterization. Johnny is fun, charming, and foolhardy. He also gets to show his own hidden intelligence, which is incredibly cool. He rushes in head first. He's a hero. He's a goofball. I love Johnny. Please date me. You can cheat. I don't care. Johnny is like a cartoon character brought to life. Probably because, you know, he is a cartoon character brought to life, but just authentically this time. Ben radiates fatherly warmth and kindness, but there's also an inner turmoil there, a sadness at the life he lost, but he's still happy with his chosen family. And I mean, most importantly, this is the first version of Ben Grimm that actually looks like Ben Grimm. I don't give a fuck if he's CGI. He looks good. Rocket and Groot were CGI, and no one complained about that because they looked correct. Ben Grimm looks correct. Reed actually gets to be intelligent and not just at the expense of making the other characters goober, brain, dumb fucks. He also has some pretty dark thoughts as a result, which raises a lot of tension with those closest to him. I hope they get to go deeper with that in future films. This is one of the most important parts of Reed's character, and it feels so good to finally see that explored. I want to see tension from that, not tension because Sue saw Reed stretchy dancing with some women at a club, or because he said her dress made her look fat, or whatever dumbfuck reasons made Sue upset in the older movies. I can't be sure. I'm never watching them again, not even for research purposes. You know, I'm sorry, even scientists have their limits. And most importantly, Sue is also intelligent and not just framed as the frumpy, weak love interest with no real power who barely exists. I said what I said. I don't know what you want from me. Sue has a strong and equal relationship with Reed. They actually get to joke with each other like two people who are comfortable enough with each other to make jokes. In this film, Sue gets to be a person. When she does get upset with Reed, it's with very good reason. Most importantly though, Sue finally gets to shine as the strongest member of the group. No more nosebleeds, no more nerfs in the patch notes. I've been waiting since my childhood for moments like this. Moments for people who didn't read comics and watch cartoons to get to see how fucking cool this character actually is. The aesthetic is rich and purposeful. It fills every cavity of the film. Just like I wish Mr. Fantastic and Johnny Storm would fill every cavity in my body. Sorry again? I don't know what to tell you. It has a fun, retro-futuristic, 60s style swank that both matches and elevates the vibrant art of the comics, which looks so much better than the straight-to-DVD slop aesthetic of Captain America Brave New World. You know what? Sorry, that movie has been through enough just by existing. I'll do my best to leave it alone. Also, the costumes look so good, really taking advantage of said art style, unlike Captain Falcon and those stupid fucking wings. Sorry, I'm sorry. I am sorry. I'm trying to be the bigger person. This isn't about you, Sam Wilson. I apologize, I think. And to the Sam Wilson stans, all 7 of you, I also apologize. And to Anthony Mackie, I also apologize. Give me a call sometime. We'll have dinner or watch a movie. Just not Captain America Brave New World. I'm sorry, that wasn't funny. Tell me that was not funny. It wasn't funny. It wasn't. It was not.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
It gives me this combined sense of newness, yet also nostalgia for a time I wasn't even a part of. The scope of that dedication is impressive. Even if the movie sucked, that effort should be appreciated alone. Now, when watching a grandiose superhero fantasy sci-fi type movie, a great deal of CGI should be expected for the most part. So I always hope for the best, but expect the worst. So I'm pretty tempered down when it comes to these things. I don't think perfection exists with this scale of superhero spectacle at this point in the timeline, but some things definitely look better than others. With Fantastic Four, I was really surprised by how much I liked the special effects. I was actually worried at first since Shala Ball looked pretty low quality in one of the trailers, but in the movie she really had a strong metallic feel to her. In particular, I enjoyed the way Johnny's flames reflected off her skin in the dark. Was it perfect? Again, no, but as far as my eyes are concerned, they did a good job. Galactus was always going to be the hardest thing to adapt, but I was also surprised by how good of a job they did. Was he perfect? No, but again, pleasantly surprised. Herbie, however, was perfect and got a lot of collective awes during my viewing. I was part of that collective. And again, Ben Grimm is the best Ben Grimm cinema has given us by light years. When it comes to the superpowers, they knew to hold back with Reed because stretchy powers are really hard to make look good, but they didn't look bad. They were okay. They were the best we're gonna get at this point in the timeline. Johnny looked good, but Hollywood already has a strong grasp on flame powers. Sue's power was obviously my favorite. They gave her powers a prismatic vibrational effect, and it looked really good on screen and added a lot of flavor whenever it was used. And her invisibility also looked really cool. Nice work to the effects department. Hopefully Marvel Studios has started giving you more time to do what you need to do. This movie came out at the perfect time, a time when we need more stories about people coming together and treating each other like people, stories about people working together to solve incredibly difficult problems. Okay, relax, I'm not saying Fantastic Four First Steps is going to heal the world in any universe. I'm just happy it's here at the moment it's here, for my own comfort. Silver Surf Tina serving T-1000 realness. I thought she was a cool character. The scenes with her surfing through lava and Stardust were sick as fuck. They really took the surfer and Silver Surfer to heart. She was intimidating and relentless, but also incredibly sad. Shala Ball chasing the Fantastic Four as Sue gave birth on the starship. I don't usually cry during births in movies, but this scene got a tear out of me. It was tense, fun, and emotional, but also just fucking cool. Probably one of the best birth scenes in a movie, right up there with the Dawn of the Dead remake. Johnny forcing Shala Ball to listen to the cries of the dead planets. The imagery was cool throughout, and it was a good emotional moment that effectively told her backstory in a footnote instead of wasting 10 minutes of my time doing road bump flashbacks. Again, this movie respected my time. Sue giving an impassioned, meaningful, yet corny speech with her baby in hand. Then Ben lovingly mocking the corniness of her speech in private. It was funny, but also helped diffuse the corniness of the scene. It was a good speech. The Fantastic Four all had strong relationships with each other, and those relationships were on full display throughout the film. Sue laughing instead of getting angry when Reed tells her he made her suit bigger. It's almost like they're married and they love each other and know each other and are comfortable enough to make jokes with each other, and that Sue is an emotionally mature adult. Sue actually getting upset because Reed considers giving their child to Galactus, a genuinely good reason to be upset with your husband. The fact that Reed considers giving their child to Galactus, this is who Reed is. Thank you for letting him be himself. Fucking Galactus? Sue finally using her powers in a film containing fucking Galactus, forcing him down the streets of the city. No more nosebleeds from weak displays of nothing. However, she did die, lol.
Oh, but okay, she was containing a cosmic being, let's be real here.
Putting the origin story, the Galactus Silver Surfer story, and the birth of Franklin all into one movie without it feeling overstuffed. It also shows that they don't think they need to pad out stories. They know that there is so much material that they will never be able to feasibly touch. This movie respects my time. This movie respects my intelligence. This movie knows what's goofy, what's serious, and what's fundamentally cool. The end credit scene with Dr. Doom letting Franklin Reed touch his face. The fact that the next 2 years are going to continue the Fantastic Four storylines. I hope they, somehow can maintain quality. And honestly, hearing the laughter, applause, and joy of the people in the theater with me felt really good and reminded me of what it was like watching Endgame. Now please, X-Men, where are you? And please be good like this. Please, God, be good like this. You know, most of my outfits just make me look like a chibi guy, like a chibi version of someone who's not a baby, but this Fantastic Four outfit makes me look just like a baby, like a cute, creepy little baby. I'm not even Franklin. I made this right before I saw the movie. I'm just me, but in a fantastic costume. It's too late now. I have to get the video out or the algorithm will say no views for you, creepy baby. Oh God, it might already be too late for that. Why do I have to put so much effort into time-sensitive things? What's the big idea? I want small ideas. You know what? It's all about perspective. I've changed my mind. I look kind of cool. With that being said, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a subscription, give it a like. It's sad to admit, but these videos take a lot more effort to make than they should, so every little crumb helps. Did you watch the movie? Did you like the movie? Will the MCU ever recover? Let me know in the comments below. Bonus Gooner jokes for those who made it this far, but also very important questions that need real answers. How much could I make on OnlyFans if Mr. Fantastic jerked me off with his incredible wiener? If Johnny penetrated you and flamed on, would you get a real nasty burn, or could he keep you safe somehow? What do you think the thing looks like? Would I be able to take Galactus's... You know what? Never mind. If the rhetorical you ejaculates inside of the invisible woman, does it also turn invisible, or does it just float there like sexy ectoplasm? Sorry for putting those words together in a meaningful way. Or you're welcome. I'm sorry, these are the only things I think about. I want to know. I need to know. Never undercome, only overcome. Shoot high and expect to miss. I love you. Good night. Here's a kiss. For those who made it this far, come hang out by the fire. I've got some bonus content just for you. This will be our post-glaze session, and I don't mean what happened after what your homeboy did to me last night. It is important to note, however, that the glaze in general was not inauthentic. I did mean everything that I said about the movie. Now, I saved this for the end because, one, it's super meandering and would have fucked with the structure of the video, making it sloppy and unwatchable. Two, I feel like at this point, only the people who want to be here are going to be here. Three, when I make a review or an essay or whatever the fuck, I usually avoid watching or reading anything else on the same subject so I can avoid having my own opinion influenced by the opinions of others, much like a new red towel would stain a white load of laundry. I also avoid copying anyone's content by subliminal force. Alright, let's talk about the issues and my response to the issues. Number one, some people complained about the lack of character arcs, especially for The Thing, which I'm kind of confused about. I don't always think a complete character arc is necessary in a team-based superhero film, but we did get arcs. Sue evolved multiple times over the course of the film, becoming a mother, expanding her power, metabolizing Reed's true nature, and becoming the main deciding factor in a battle against a cosmic threat. Johnny had an entire storyline with Shala Bal, ultimately convincing her to help them, saving himself from self-sacrifice in the end. Ben consistently demonstrated his kindness as well as his love for his family throughout the film, dealing with and overcoming the loss of his physical humanity, finally being able to admit his feelings to a normal woman that he had a little bit of a crush on. And with Reed, we got to see that he had infinite answers to infinite questions until infinite wasn't infinite anymore. He was confronted with his limitations, as well as how he othered himself with the darkness of his own intelligence. His mind was both his greatest strength, but also his greatest weakness, that sort of deal. I don't know what other people wanted, but I felt good about this. Number two, there's a lot to be said for people misunderstanding what suspension of disbelief is, an issue I will have to argue over for the rest of my life, i.e. just because your fantasy series has fire-breathing dragons doesn't mean your world shouldn't adhere to an internal sense of logic. You know, if a magic farting clown shows up and saves all your characters at the end of your dark fantasy, you've broken the suspension, i.e. just because fire-breathing dragons exist, it doesn't mean there are no rules. I'll make a video on it one day for quick reference, even though it is just that simple. This leads me to the next point of contention, that some people were upset about the science of it all. Bitch, what do you think you're watching? Tony Stark invented time travel. What are we doing here? You know, I feel like everything made sense in the context of the film. If you don't think it did, let me know in the comments below with specifics. I'm kind of curious at this point. Marvel is a world of super geniuses. There's gonna be wacky science. Special shout out to the gibberish mathematic language that Reed was using when he was writing on his chalkboards. I hope it's gibberish. I hope that's not a real thing and I'm just like that ignorant. Though I will say there was one issue I had, which is the moment they left the FTL behind when confronting Galactus. Maybe I was just confused, but it seems like it would have been destroyed unless Galactus's ship just stopped right before it hit. That just didn't seem like what was happening in the moment. I don't know. It didn't matter regardless, since they couldn't effectively escape with it anyway. Maybe people were upset about the birth scene following that moment, since they were slingshotting off of a black hole adjacent thing, which I can understand, but God, that scene was just so fucking cool. I can't care too much about the specifics, which is probably a moral failure on my part. Anyway, my suspension did not stress under the weight of the film. Number 3, some people aggressively complained that Doom wasn't sufficiently set up in the film. So besides the fact that What's His Fuck said Doom would not be in the movie, which should have told you ahead of time that Doom wouldn't be in the movie, but also Avengers Doomsday comes out next year, and if they do a good job, he'll get plenty of setup in that, I am sure. He'll get a whole Avengers movie all to himself. Relax, baby boy, it'll be okay. Also, even if, like, these super nerds didn't hear the fact that What's His Fuck said Doom wouldn't be in the movie, none of the trailers or promotional material at all, like, in any way showed that Doom would be, like, the main antagonist of this film, or even a character in this film. However, I also don't accept this complaint for another reason, which I'll get to in my next point. Number 4, I think the one issue I can understand on some of the seemingly disingenuous reviews I've read is that this movie has such a conveniently happy ending. Now, I do personally like comic book movies with depressing or at least bittersweet endings, because not only is it accurate to most comics, but it also just makes the stories feel a lot more honest and real. It also balances out the inherent superhero cheese of the genre by putting in those heart-wrenching or at least somewhat dark endings. Endings like those in the first Captain America, Infinity War, Civil War, No Way Home, Thor Ragnarok, WandaVision, etc. However, when it comes to this film, the Fantastic Four kind of deserve their happy ending, and my reasoning is as follows. 1. Considering the next 2 story arcs, Doomsday and Secret Wars, I have a feeling that things won't be so happy moving forward, so it's good to give them one moment where they truly get to be happy with the life they've all created with each other. That will also make the future story arcs all the more devastating, you know, if they do end up going the dark route with things, which hopefully they do. 2. With Sue dying for a moment, we did get a taste of that darkness, that sadness, that horror of what could happen when you start fucking around with cosmic powers. But most importantly, with her coming back to life, we got a mild taste of what Franklin Richards is capable of as just an infant, not even fully grown. This moment is meaningful because it provides context. I usually hate death fakeouts, but this is the kind of instance where it works because they gave it some kind of meaning. I still would have preferred that maybe she didn't die, maybe she was just grievously injured, but that's just a me thing. I really fucking hate I hate death fakeouts so much. But again, the context gives it purpose beyond audience shock value. So I accept, but don't you fucking push it. I got my eye on you, man. 3. The ending isn't actually happy if you really think about it. When you take the end credit scene into account, Sue walking in on Franklin reaching out to Dr. fucking Doom is a dark portent for things to come. Okay, and I'm assuming this isn't going to be the neutered version of Dr. Doom that we got in the previous failures. This is going to be the real Dr. Doom, an endless monster with the power to back it up, a true Avengers level villain. This scene means that there's nowhere to go but down from here. So in that, this ending is kind of dark. It signals the end of happiness and safety for the Fantastic Four. You know, you just gotta wait till after the credits to get there. That is, unless I'm completely wrong and all of this ends up being fluff at the end and Marvel makes a fool of me again, which, you know, I've gotten used to at this point. And in that case, I preemptively apologize for making this seem cooler than it actually is. Now, I didn't assign the movie a numerical score. I probably should have, but I didn't feel like it. I didn't know if it was appropriate, but if it weren't for how bad the previous Fantastic Four films were, I would have given it a 9 out of 10. I think it's a pretty solid 9 out of 10, but I'm pretty sure it's my moral responsibility, my obligation to give it a 10 out of 10, just for the fact that they made a good Fantastic Four film alone, which at this point in the timeline almost seemed like a statistical impossibility. That's the score. 10 flaming bleach blonde white guys out of 10 flaming bleach blonde white guys. listeners. Does it bother me that I could have titled this video The Emasculation of Reed Richards and up my views times 1,000? Yeah, only the parts that feel emotions, though that would be dishonest and also, offend the parts of me that feel emotions and the parts of me that feel morals and ethics. But it's a funny joke. It's a joke. It's a funny laugh. You laugh. You laugh right now, or I'll reach and I'll pull it out of you. To the lovely people who made it this far, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you sitting through my nonsensical rambling and my lists within lists within lists. Subscribe if you haven't, leave a like and all that for the algo. Have a good night. See you next time. Here's a bonus kiss.
Yes. Oh yeah, you're gonna love it. Do it. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Do it. So good.
Well, it's time. I'm subscribing.
Excellent.